Hello and welcome to your news at noon that comes to you with the compliments of Rasina Drink Mix. I am Kevin Smith. Before we get to the news in detail, let's get to today's front page comment of the Kaieteur News. The bigger picture. We thank the PPPC government for the removal of the VAT on electricity and water and for the free water for pensioners. We thank the PPPC for the $25,000 COVID-19 cash grant and the small increase in old age pensions. When we did an approximation of all these relief measures, the average monthly savings does not exceed 10,000 Ghana dollars. Though citizens are thankful, they should not be so carried away as to lose sight of the bigger picture. And it is regarding this bigger picture that we call again on President Irfan Ali and Vice President Bharat Jagdeo to come clean. The Kanji and Kaieteur blocks have been given away in the secret deals to middlemen. We call on Dr. Ali and Mr. Jagdeo to come clean about these secret deals. It is nice to give needy Guyanese about $10,000, but those billions of US dollars that belong to Ghana could make all Guyanese self-sufficient and better off. Guyanese get chicken feed, while crooked leaders get to keep the billions in US dollars from their giveaway of the whole chicken farm. Guyanese must decide whether they are happy with this state of affairs and will stay quiet, or whether they will seethe with rage at being cheated by leaders from both sides of the political divide. Citizens should not settle for handouts. They must call for their just share of the country's patrimony. They must demand accountability and transparency. More importantly, they must press for the billions to which they are entitled. Guyanese must remember that it was only after persistent efforts of the press and individuals that the coalition agreed to release the hideous 2016 contract which Trotman signed in secret. They must remember too that it was determination that finally exposed the signing bonus which the coalition hid away from the people of the country. We are better and wiser now and more determined. Now for the page 7 dedicated to bluntness. Guyana needs a vibrant opposition. Guyanese call on the coalition, stand up and lead the way forward. Coalition leaders speak out against the deceptions on the Kanji and Kaieteur blocks. Coalition leaders do what presses the PPP for answers on the Kanji and Kaieteur blocks. And now for the top stories we are tracking. Raman Gaskin says award of Kanji and Kaieteur blocks must face independent forensic probe. Gaisuko flood success lands to flush out squatters. Robbery at Chinese supermarket. Former deputy commissioner's son remains in custody, and prosecution closes case in Gary Best dangerous driving trial. Meanwhile, cops caught in camera trying to drive away after hitting down pedal cyclist. Stay tuned to stay informed.
You don't have to be a fountain of knowledge to help children with their schoolwork while they're at home. But you do have to be caring, understanding, loving, and patient. It's an unsettling time for everyone, but children still need a safe and secure environment. So don't overwhelm them with endless news items or problems. Keep them gainfully occupied and amused, exercised, and rested. Protect our children. A message from the Child Care and Protection Agency, Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, and UNICEF.
And now for the news in detail. Activist Raman Gaskin said that the suspicious awards of the Kanji and Kaieteur oil blocks leading up to the 2015 elections must face the scrutiny of independent forensic experts in an official investigation. He said that an expert team would allow Ghana to identify all those who are guilty of corrupt practices so that they may be prosecuted. He said that the blocks should never have been awarded to anyone just before the 2015 elections, and that former Minister of Natural Resources Robert Prasad and former President Donald Ramotar should come clean about what really happened and who benefited from these awards. Gaskin believes that the awards were not legally done as to receive such licenses. Companies are supposed to satisfy the government of their capabilities, assets, and finances to acquire and develop the blocks. He called on persons who have information about these transactions to come forward and allow themselves to be interrogated. In other news, lands occupied by squatters at Success, east coast of Demerara, are now heavily flooded following a decision earlier this week by Kaieteur to do so. In light of the flooding, several squatters have vacated the lands, claiming that it was a move by Kaieteur to get rid of them. However, a significant number of them have decided to stay put, insisting that the water will not hamper their existence. A Kaieteur official who was in charge of releasing the water said that the lands are being prepared for the planting of sugarcane. He explained that the objective was never to remove the squatters, and as far as he knows, it was just to prepare the land for use. He went on to say that he was only fulfilling what was required of him. It was reported that a number of squatters sought to attack those who were a part of the flooding exercise, but ranks of the police force quickly intervened. Let's tell you now that police sources have confirmed that the son of a former deputy police commissioner remains in custody for Tuesday's robbery of Ego Chinese Supermarket, located at Melanie Damishana on the east coast of Demerara. In custody was the security guard on duty at the supermarket at the time of the robbery. At 19 hours 30 on Tuesday, witnesses recalled 4 gunmen entering the building. After the robbery, police gave chase to a suspicious white Toyota Allion. Soon after, they received a call alerting them that the robbers were still in the building. They returned immediately with backup and surrounded the building. However, when police entered and cleared the supermarket, no one was found. Based on information received, they arrested the security guard. He is believed to be the alleged mastermind behind the crime and was later identified as the son of a former deputy police commissioner. Let's tell you now that the prosecution has closed its case in the trial of former GDF Chief of Staff Gary Best. Best was charged earlier this year for cause of death by dangerous driving, in which national cyclist Jude Bentley was killed. The trial is being conducted virtually by Magistrate Rondell Weaver in the Georgetown Magistrates Courts. During the continuation of the matter yesterday, Best's attorney, Nigel Hughes, cross-examined the witnesses that testified against his client. After the witnesses were cross-examined, the prosecution indicated that they would like to close their case. On the next hearing of the matter, both the prosecutor and the defense have to submit their written submissions of the trial. In other news, a video yesterday went viral after it revealed that 3 police ranks in a pickup attempted to drive away after hitting down a pedal cyclist. It is unclear as to where the incident occurred, but the video was recorded a little after 7 hours. We reached out to the relative police authorities to ascertain the location, but up to press time they too were without a clue. Nevertheless, investigations into the matter are ongoing. Not recorded in the video was how the accident occurred, but what is clear is that the ranks had attempted to drive away. They were forced to abort the plan, however, after residents of the area, including the individual who recorded the video, confronted them. The pedal cyclist appeared as if he was in pain, and the bicycle was seen lying on the road with the ranks standing nearby looking at him. At a verbal confrontation between onlookers, and the ranks continued a few minutes more and ended after the pedal cyclist rode away and the cops drove off. You are tuned into Kaieteur Radio, 99.1, 99.5 FM. This is your news at noon. Coming up after the break, UNDP offers to help Guyana with electoral reform. Man jailed 60 years for GPHC's dispatcher murder, and GNBS issues new requirements in wake of tire reversal ban. Do stay tuned.
Enjoy Free Nights Talk with Digicel, the curfew edition. Get unlimited free talk to any Digicel number between 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. All you have to do is top up $1,000 or more every day before 6 p.m. to enjoy unlimited free talk. That's a whole lot of gaff. No more boring nights. You can now call your mommy, daddy, your bestie, your boo, even granny to tell them all that Digicel unlimited free night talk is back. Terms and conditions apply. Digicel, there with you.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. The United Nations Development Programme, or UNDP, has offered assistance to Guyana on the issue of electoral reform. According to the Ministry of Legal Affairs, UNDP's resident representative, Jairo Valverde, met with Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Anil Nandlal, on Wednesday, where support for Guyana's electoral systems, among other things, was discussed. According to the ministry, Valverde spoke of a plethora of technical support that the UNDP can offer on a myriad of governance issues, including but not limited to the strengthening of democracy, justice reform, and electoral reform. Valverde indicated that the UNDP has in excess of 8,000 technical persons deployed across the world, assisting various governments in electoral reform and other key areas that require technical support in governance. Meanwhile, 60-year-old Alan Sim, the man who was indicted for the 2015 murder of his former partner, Melissa Skeet, has been sentenced to serve 60 years in jail. The sentence was imposed by Justice Navindra Singh at the Georgetown High Court yesterday, following hours of deliberation by a mixed 12-member jury that found him guilty of the offense. Based on the sentence of Justice Singh, Sim will only be eligible for parole after serving 40 years in jail. Skeet was found lying on the roadway in the vicinity of Carmichael Street, Georgetown, bleeding profusely from several stab wounds. She died while receiving treatment at the Georgetown Public Hospital. And moving on, in light of the reversal of the ban on importing used passenger car tires, GNBS has issued an advisory to importers, highlighting specific requirements that must be complied with. The new requirements state that all new and used tires imported must comply with the requirements of the Guyana Standard Specification for Pneumatic Passenger Car Tires, the second edition. All tires being imported are required to be examined by the GNBS at the time of importation to determine whether or not they comply with requirements based on the national standard. The GNBS strongly advised that all non-complying tires will be seized and/or destroyed by the GNBS. Let's tell you now that a joint operation conducted earlier this week by the GDF in collaboration with the GPF and the GGMC unearthed a massive tunnel mining operation in the New River Basin, some 50 miles east of Masakanari, South Rupununi. The GDF said that the team located the camp and discovered 3 tunnels, one of which was abandoned while the remainder were deemed active. The team also discovered several pieces of equipment, including a satellite dish. No one was found at the camp, the release noted. It added due to the remoteness of the location, seizure of the equipment was not feasible, so they were subsequently destroyed. The New River Basin is designated a rare earth mineral reserve, and as such, mining is strictly prohibited in that area. And finally, let's tell you that the APNU-AFC has stated that it will only present the observation reports which were produced from the national recount in their 2 elections petitions, and that it will not rely on their SOPs, which remain hidden. This was according to opposition MP and Attorney at Law Roysdale Ford. Ford reminded that the coalition is challenging the issues related to the final election declaration. This declaration showed a clear victory for the PPPC, but the APNU-AFC maintains that the party's success was fraudulently gained. Consequently, the party expects the court to determine and declare, among other things, that the chief election officer is not entitled to base his report on data generated from the recount. It is now 12:16. Coming up next is your COVID-19 update.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues, immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
And now for your COVID-19 update. The number of worldwide coronavirus cases, according to Worldometer, has reached 39,291,833, with deaths at 1,104,632. Recovery cases has reached 29,444,335. The Ministry of Health yesterday announced that there has been yet another death resulting from COVID-19 complications. This death has moved the country's death toll to 107. The latest fatality is that of a 46-year-old female from Region 4. The ministry also revealed that there have been 31 new cases of the virus. The Ministry of Health has assured that there will be no need for additional fatalities to isolate COVID-19 patients in light of the recent reopening of the country's airports to commercial traffic. Concerns have been raised regarding the airport's reopening and the chances of Guyana having an influx of COVID-19 cases. A ministry spokesman said that there will be no need for additional institutional isolation provisions since adequate measures are in place to monitor those coming in. The official also assured that there is currently sufficient management of isolation spaces. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony said the government will ensure its frontline workers are first to benefit from the COVID-19 vaccine when it becomes available. Currently, the ministry is in discussion with several countries that are actively pursuing a vaccine. And coming from CNN, the U.S. is nearing 8 million COVID-19 cases and averaging more than 50,000 daily new infections, a sign the country is in for a tough winter, experts say. Hundreds of thousands of American workers filed for unemployment benefits last week on a seasonally adjusted basis, according to the Department of Labor. And tighter restrictions are coming into effect in London, and a nighttime curfew will take effect in some French cities starting Saturday as cases surge in Europe. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. Remember, the news came to you with the compliments of Rasna Drink Mix. I am Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned. Coming up next is the National Outlook with GHK Lal.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of